Spider, excellent.
Hey guys, it's Laena. Welcome back to Spoodcast. And today I have special guest Emily, Mini Robo Muppets.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Anytime. And somehow, if you guys don't know who that is, the real account is Mini underscore Robo Muppets, by the way.
Underscore's pulling a lot of weight there.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I saw your post about I don't know what to call them,
Yeah, imposter, I
yeah.
guess. Yeah, ever since I started my account on different platforms, there's always been a few of those that they basically just find a name really similar to mine and they just take my videos and repost them and profit, I'm assuming. They don't interact with people or anything. They just, use my videos and pretend like they're me. And it never was a huge issue until recently. This account is kicking my butt. It has more followers than I do. And then it recently started posting some
Yeah.
not safe for work content, and people are really confused as to why their favorite, family friendly spider lady is posting all these cam girls. And
Oh
so
my god.
fortunately that's getting more people to find my real account. But yeah, that account does not have the underscore, so mine does.
That is crazy. It's like karma, but at the same time, I did see, people are like, I didn't expect this from you, and that must be ugh.
Mm. Yeah, I was a little I was a little surprised by how many people just rolled over and assumed that I, after so many years of doing this, just decided, you know what I'm going to do instead? I'm going
Uh,
to take these random naked people on the internet and post that instead. And
you know what, spiders, it's been fun, but yeah.
this is better.
Oh my god. So yeah, everybody, mini underscore. So there you go. But
Yep, it's the same on all my platforms. So I don't have different names or anything.
oh gosh, yeah. Somebody has my name on YouTube and I feel really bad about it. But
I was so glad that I reserved my name on YouTube a long time ago before I started posting on there, just in case. So I just had like an empty account with that name for a long time, and then recently I actually started using it. So I'm really glad that I did that, or somebody else would probably be posting naked videos on it by now.
I did a takedown. I think a lot of people have reported it to Instagram, but it doesn't seem like they do very much at the moment.
Yeah, I know that they probably exist, but I haven't seen a lot of evidence of the people in charge of taking that stuff down.
God, I can't imagine how you feel like even just with a couple whatever followers. Like I was scrolling on Reddit the other day and just out of nowhere I was like, I think that's my hand. And it was like, oh my god, that's my hand. And
Ah,
I guess a bunch of bots have been reposting my stuff in the spider sub, but
oh man.
and they always misgender my spiders, like, or missex.
Mm-hmm.
I don't what's the word? But yeah, it's like a big fat orange regal girl, and they're like, "Look at him," and it's like, "Don't call orange
Oh
floof at
gosh.
him." But yeah,
I'd imagine people probably correct that pretty quickly when they see it posted, right?
no. The people in the
No?
comments were like, "Wow."
I suppose, the spider subreddit, at least a couple of the spider subreddits, that was kind of like those were my first places that I went. So I was a newbie. So I
Mm,
may not have, maybe it's kind of more people who aren't going to catch that yet. They're not the
yeah,
seasoned spider people.
it seems like to me, the more general spider sub is mostly probably 80% is this a brown recluse, and am I going to die? So yeah.
It's always a brown recluse.
Oh yeah, always.
Every spider. Yep. Oh, I live in a place where the brown recluse live, and I still have never seen one. And
Mm.
every time I see a spider that I don't recognize that looks like, oh, maybe that's it, I get excited about it now because I'm like, maybe this is finally the time that I'm finally gonna find it, and I'll, search it on my little bug app, and nope, it never is. Never once. One day.
Yeah, it's your shiny Pokemon.
Never expected that to be the case, but
You mentioned looking at the subreddits when you first started out. How did you find spiders in the first place, I guess?
yeah. Most of my life I was terrified of spiders. I was one of those people that, like, if there was a spider in the room, I couldn't go in there. And,
Oh no.
if I saw one a few days ago in that room, I was still going to be really apprehensive about it and, track somebody down to catch the spider for me. And I live in the Midwest. We have finished basements here where we spend a lot of our time.
Mhm.
All of my hobbies are in the basement. It was really just getting inconvenient to be that afraid of spiders. It interfered with my everyday life. It was really annoying, and so I think I kind of just there wasn't like an exact moment, but it kind of just realized like this is just silly that I'm letting this fear like get in the way of my being able to sew in my
Mhm.
sewing room. And so I just decided I'm going to fix this about myself. So I started by just introducing images of spiders
Mm.
occasionally. And so I started following some subreddits that have kind of they're gentler spider
Yeah.
subreddits, like I think Spider Bros is one of them. So,
Yes. Yeah.
kind of learning like, ooh, here's a spider friend. It's not scary. This is a spider bro. Like, kind of getting you to see it a little differently. So that was my start. And I spent more time on Facebook at the time, and so I found some, jumping spiders obviously were like they're the gateway spider. They're
Yep.
the easiest, cutest thing. So just started with a little bit of imagery so that I would get a little desensitized to it rather than, just having that immediate fear reaction. I figured if I'm seeing it every day, I'm going to get a little less jumpy about it.
Mhm.
Am I rambling too much, or is
No,
this kind
no.
of am I answering your question?
Actually, it's great because a lot of people just say, like, I was scared and then I didn't want to be anymore. So I'm not.
Yeah.
so, so okay. Cool. Cool.
Oh,
Cool.
I wish that I could have just done that, but yeah, I figured, well, here, like I'll basically trick my brain. That really is, where my a lot of this is unnecessary fear. So how can I kind
Hmm.
of trick myself into not feeling that, not having that reaction right away?
Yeah.
And so that was my first step. And then I also, like a lot of things in life, a lot of my fears stem from just not understanding something well enough, and not feeling, like I have a good grasp of, or something might be unpredictable, that makes
Ooh.
me feel a little more nervous around it. And so on top of introducing the images into my everyday life, I started studying spiders a little bit more. If I would see a spider, I all of a sudden my curiosity kind of overrode my fear of a spider. I was able to get
Hmm.
close enough to the spider to take a picture and then
Oh,
look up what spider that is, and then learn about the spider. And, is this dangerous? Of course not. Most of them aren't.
yeah.
And what kind of environment does it live in, and things like that. And
Mm.
I would be a lot less afraid of them, just because in that process I'm also having to look at a billion pictures of that spider. And it just kind of it's more, yeah, the curiosity kind of made me forget, ooh, I'm afraid of this thing. um
yeah.
and and so that was, I guess those were the two, initial steps that I took to kind of start that ball rolling. Well, and then, yeah, it kind of kept rolling, obviously.
Yeah. Uh, at first, was it difficult or like did you feel any anxiety or anything when you first started?
The first few times, yes. I think the being able to distract myself from fear just really helped a lot. But I mean, I still
Hmm.
have times when it tries to creep back in,
Yeah.
but yeah, with jumping spiders. It was easy that I kind of stumbled upon jumping spiders in that process. The very first time I saw a video of a jumping spider, a regal, like a really pretty one, I just stared at it and was like, there's no way that this is real. This looks like a Muppet. It looks like a little like animatronic Muppet. There's just no way. And I instantly was like, well, I'm not afraid of these. These are adorable. And so I, finally got to the point where I was like, I'm going to get one of these. I'm going to get a little jumping spider to help me with my fear to, I'll have to learn all about it. I'll keep it in a little container that it can't get me. And I will care for it and take care of it. And it was out crawling on my hands pretty quick after I got it. Her name was Gretel, my very first one. And, yeah, caring for a little creature and seeing how afraid that creature is of you just really, it's like, how could I be afraid of this?
Yeah. Yeah, I was looking through my phone, and I'm sure you understand, but when you have spiders, you tend to have no space on your phone and a million pictures. But I found a video of my first unboxing of a spider ever, and I don't even think I touched it. I think I just kind of held the cup up to the house, and I was like, ah. So, and I'm not even afraid of spiders, really. I've never really felt one way or the other, but it was so cute to see like how differently I did that the first time.
Yeah, when you're finally in a position where you have to like let it crawl on you, suddenly maybe it is a little scary.
Yeah. I feel like I mean, she is long gone, but I wish I could apologize. Like for our first meeting, I was kind of a dick because, it's like, just go live in this Target container that I lovingly decorated the bottom of because I misunderstood what you guys do. Oh.
I learned a lot of those things too. My very first one, I did not give her a lot of things in her enclosure. And I look back and like, gosh, she was probably kind of bored. I didn't really give her much of anything in there, just like a little air plant. And not that they need, like a Harry Potter themed magical wonderland or anything, but they like to have a few things to kind of crawl around on. And yeah, I get it.
I was thinking about it the other day. In the jumping spider subreddit, they always say like needs more clutter, needs more what's the other word? It starts with the E. Enrichment. Needs more enrichment. Yeah. But
yeah, there are such strong opinions about the enrichment and how much and how little. I still remember seeing a picture on some group one time, and this guy kind of just he like shoved, I don't know, they were like bits of cardboard and paper and things like that in there, and it was not a pretty enclosure at all.
Yeah.
And people just piled on him. It was in like a jug, but I don't think the spider cares. And
No.
I don't think the spider, think about where you find spider. They're outside. They're in, we have them living in I have them living in my garbage bins. I open it up in the garbage. So it's like, that's probably a perfect environment for the spider, just because it doesn't, it's not pink and made to look like a waterfall, and and those are fine too, because again, the spider just doesn't care as long as it has something to crawl around on and can have food and humidity and ventilation. Those are the important things. But boy, there are some opinions, so I don't, that's just mine. But
yeah, I think as long as their environment, has the things that they need to live. And yeah, I would say I agree. I do see a lot of piling up also on people who make dollhouse stuff, but we don't have to get into that because that could be. Hey guys, editing Laena here using text to speech, so we'll see if this is creepy. Just wanted to point out that neither of us are saying that we don't value great enclosure setups for spiders. Rather, we don't want people to think enclosures have to look a certain way, whether it's dollhouse, natural, whatever.
Well, and yeah, again, I think that stuff, if it's made with, non-toxic glue, if it's made in a way that it's not going to harm the spider,
Yeah.
that I don't see any reason why it would be bad. It's just, not necessary.
Honestly, one of the best things that I've learned is about dishwasher safe Mod Podge. So useful.
Ah,
Do you ever use that?
no.
Yeah, if you ever find a really cool stick or, just something that
Oh,
is,
sure. Would that
yeah,
keep it from molding then?
yes.
Okay, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and it dries clear. And yeah, apparently you could throw shit. Oh, sorry. Apparently we do say shit on here, but I'm trying to be better. But um,
Eh.
okay, anyway. Well, no, I said shit to my gynecologist like 4 times, and it's like, fuck, I'm sorry. Oh, shit.
I'm
Okay,
sure they
anyway.
probably hear it all the time. I do Brazilian waxes for a living, so all cuss words are fair game in my waxing room. And
Yeah, do people ever, like, when you rip it off, they're like, "Fumbles!"
oh
I
yeah,
don't know.
I get all types, all types. I get some people who are just stone faced and hardly react, and I'm like, are
Wow.
you awake? Are you on drugs? And then I get other people who are practically, climbing off the table. And I every once in a while I get somebody who they have that a really strong defensive instinct. I think I got
Ooh.
punched square in the back one time
No.
by a lady. She felt so bad, it was a complete accident. It just swung around and hit me right in the back. knocked
Oh
my
my
knocked my
god.
breath out.
Did you make a sound?
Oh yeah, I mean it. She was a Marine too, so
Fuck.
she had a
Dude,
good hook.
that reminds me of
Ugh.
do you remember the Grape Lady video?
Grape Lady.
Yeah, and
Oh, the
she's
one that fell.
yeah.
Yeah, right?
And she yeah, so the Grape Lady video, she's stomping grapes on a platform for some reason, and the news is interviewing her, and she tries to do it really fast because she's being a show off. She falls and she knocks the air out of herself, and she goes, "Uh,
Oh, she sounded awful. Yeah.
uh,
Um,
oh,
yeah.
oh my god,
Fortunately, I did not sound like the Grape Lady. Well, maybe I did. I don't remember, but
your coworkers are like, hello? Do we need to call the cops? Like,
we just disregard any sound that comes out of that room.
just kidding. I also really love when reporters are talking about like geese and birds, and the birds are like, no, and they, yeah.
Being birds.
Yeah, and they're like, I'm gonna eat you. Okay. Yeah, so I think we just went
Yeah.
on a tangent and I can't remember what we were talking about. So how many spiders do you have? It seems like you've got a lot.
Yeah, well, I think I have about like a baker's dozen. Is that like like a little over a dozen? Yeah, so not that many. It feels like a lot to me. But yeah, I think I think I have 13 right now. And I have a few different species, which is
Nice.
really
Yeah.
cool. Most are regals, but I
Mm.
have an Odie right now. I've
Yeah.
been showing her off in my videos lately, and I've had a couple Odies before that I hardly showed because I just have not had the best luck with odiosis. I just love them, and they're my dream spider, and
Mhm.
they fail to thrive in my care, but this one has been doing great. So fingers crossed. I boldly decided to introduce her to the world because she seems to be doing great. And I have a couple of Fardalis. Love them. Those are my other dream spider that I never thought that I was.
Mhm.
I felt so inferior when it came to taking
Ah,
care of a Fardalis
yeah.
because I know they're delicate and they're finicky, and
Mhm.
turns out I don't know, whatever I'm doing, they seem really happy about it. So Bunny is an old lady and she's still kicking. So
They need a lot of humidity, right?
yeah, that was what I was always told. So I keep
Mhm.
them and they're little, so you can keep them kind of in a more enclosed
Mm.
enclosure. But yeah, mine do fantastic. They're really happy, and they just seem like happy spiders. They just
Yeah.
ditzy and just They just they jump before they look to see where they're jumping, and
Oh no.
they're real, chatty in that way where their palps are moving. They're
Oh,
just happy to be here. I really
mm,
like them, and they're beautiful.
yeah, they're
Yeah,
so
yeah.
pretty.
Just dopey, yeah. Which you wouldn't expect from such a I expected them to be kind of stuck up, because
Oh
they're so pretty and so perfect, but they're total ditzes. I love
my
them.
gosh. What color are their shells? Because their shells are kind of covered.
That's a good question. I
Oh,
don't I don't want to say because I will probably be wrong.
yeah, let's see.
I don't
We
think they're
can,
pink. I don't I think they're kind of unremarkable colored. I like they're not bright. You know what I mean?
yeah, they don't need to
I've never
be.
noticed them.
That's interesting. I'm looking at pictures now and you really can't
Yeah, what
tell.
color are you
That's
seeing?
crazy. You can't tell.
Watch, they're actually pink and I was wrong.
Some of these kind of look green, but I can't tell.
Okay.
It's amazing that they have like a basically long mustache, like curtain.
Yeah, they're just so pretty. As they get older, they as they rub on things and in their enclosure, and
Mhm.
if you would handle them a lot, they start to kind of lose their little hairs, and
Mm.
they have just a little black body under that white fur, and so they anywhere where they lose hair is just a black shiny
Oh,
body.
wow.
And so, like Bunny is bald on the top, and so she has this little black head, and the rest is white and fluffy. But again, they're still just happy.
They're totally polar bears. I love it. Oh my god. I'm happy to hear you say that otiosis are like dream spider because that is
Yeah.
absolutely true for me. Like my non-emo is my baby right now.
Is she an older girl now?
I'm slightly kind of worried about it. She when they get to the stage where they sometimes seem to have thread, but like it's really thin?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I don't know, and she's been doing 2 days in a row, she did the kind of weird hang where they kinda don't hold their abdomen up.
Oh, yeah. The ones that I've had do that, I'll kind of go and like I'll scoot their enclosure a little bit, and they'll pull it back up. They'll be like,
Yep,
"Oop, yep, drop,
yep.
I dropped that." But it's like, doesn't that hurt? Just keep it up all the time. You're
I
bothering
know.
me. Yeah, that's the rough part.
God, when they start doing the weird hang, though, but it was pretty fun, raising on and seeing her molt. So, because when I first got her, she was like a little shiny green thing, and then she turned like bright
Mm,
yellow, and now
wow. And
yeah,
this is an odiosis.
yeah, and I don't know which region. But she looks exactly like yours, basically, except non
Okay.
is yeah, she's like an almond though. She's fat and her butt is now brown instead of green.
She still has kind of that green shine to her, but she's real little still. But it's funny, I don't even really think about them as big spiders because sadly that haven't had
Mhm.
that yet. So,
Ugh.
yeah, I guess they get about the same size as Recals.
Let's see. I would say, mm, if you don't think of like the fattest regal you've ever had, or
Mm-hmm.
the biggest mama, probably like
Hmm.
a mid-sized girl. Have you ever had a Mistaceous?
Yes.
Oh,
Oh gosh, remind me which I know that I've had that one, but I'm trying to remember which one it is.
ooh,
Uh,
it's the
do they have the little horns?
yes,
Um
yes.
the little like sometimes they're yellow and
Hmm.
yellow horns. Yes, Spike I think is a Mestacious. He's he just the cutest thing. And
They're
yeah,
so
he's a
tiny.
boy and he has the little yeah. They look like kitties, like with the little spikes and the
Yep.
yeah. He's the only one who I've lost before,
Oh.
like twice. Like he's an escape artist. Um, I had never lost a spider until I had him, and man, he's crafty. It's like his whole purpose is just to get out and escape. And it's not, he's happy to be in his house and he's happy to hang out with me, but it's like he enjoys getting freaking me out.
Yeah. What was the longest that he's been out for?
A day. It was maybe two. Yeah, it was like kind of an overnight thing. I
Okay.
was taking care of my spiders in the morning before I went to work, and he just bolted, and he ran behind. I had like a built-in desk,
No.
He ran behind the built-in desk. So I'm like, well,
Mm-mm.
he's like somewhat in the wall. Um, and I needed to get to work. I didn't have time to tear apart everything.
Oh,
So I went to work and
no.
I came back the next day, nothing. And then I think the following day, because I checked the ceiling and
Hmm.
and there he was,
Oh
up
my
on the
God.
just teeny tiny little dot up there. Um, and he did this thing. I filmed, but this is the type of thing that I do in my basement. My spiders put on a Christmas pageant this year. Um, and I built a little stage for them out of a cardboard box. And he kept finding a little spot in the box where you could
Oh,
climb back like inside the box and kept
no.
doing that. So he just likes to play hide and seek, I think.
That's so. Is he tiny? I had a male
Yeah, he's
Mestaceus,
pretty
and
little.
yeah, the males are so small. It's kind of
Hmm.
crazy compared to the girls. Like, I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
see
I
how they
haven't had
could
a
pair.
girl.
Oh, I'll send you
Are they a
videos.
pretty big difference between the two, the size?
Let's see. I would maybe let's say I 7, I 8 regal.
Hmm.
Maybe. Yeah, I'd say for an
Okay,
adult
yeah.
Mestaceus. Maybe.
And yeah, the boys, they really, I mean, he's about the same size as like my Fartallus. I think he's pretty little.
Oh, yeah, I didn't realize Fartallus were so small. Huh.
Oh, Fartallus are pretty little too, yeah. They look like they should be bigger when you see up close pictures
Yeah.
of them, don't they? But yeah, they're little.
Have you ever had a Hylas?
Let me look. I don't think I've had that one. Let me look.
I haven't, only because they're super hard to find or yeah, expensive.
There we go. No, those are the biggest ones, right? Those are the
Yeah.
big guys.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I've had them offered to me.
Mhm.
Uh, I've still been, I think, nervous about them, which is
Yeah.
silly. I should try it. They're so cool. They have that
Yeah.
like that Bane face mask.
Yeah. Oh,
And,
yes, exactly.
uh-huh. But I've heard they're really sweet and they yeah, and they're quite big. But
What makes you nervous about them? Is it the size? Or?
I think the size, which it shouldn't bother me. I've had really big regals before. I think it's kind of something that I just forgot to trick my brain out of. But I mean, thinking
Yeah.
about it now, there's no reason for me to be bothered by it now. So I
Yeah.
should try it. I had one. She was from Mexico, and they have like a little red butt, and it almost looks like little Mickey Mouse shorts. They have like, um, gosh, I can't remember what she was called. Gosh, let me look.
So it's not a night kite. Maybe.
You could be right. I'm scrolling now to see. I'm not finding it. Maybe they weren't actually from Mexico. Maybe they just said that they were.
Ooh.
Which
Yeah.
was really embarrassing because I'd speak Spanish to her every morning when I'd be feeding her. I learned how to say a few things in Spanish when
Just for her?
yeah.
What did you tell her?
I would well, and like I named her little mouse, and so I learned how to say, I think it was Paquito Raton or Raton Paquito. I learned how to address her properly. Yeah.
Good, good. Yeah.
And I don't know, I would say like, buenos dias, ¿cómo estás? Be feeding her.
Well, I mean, did she
I
say
don't
anything?
know. Very rarely, very rarely. I she her temperament was so different than the other
Mhm.
spiders. Didn't. I think I only handled her once. She didn't
Mm.
seem very interested in hanging out with me. And she would molt for a month or two at a time, almost every time
Ooh.
she molted, and I would get nervous,
Mhm.
every time that she did it because I'd be like, well, is she still crazy in there? And kind of
Yeah.
shift things around to make sure that she was still alive. And she just, I've heard from other spider keepers that that's kind of just how they are, that they just take a really long time to molt. She was always okay. She lived a long time.
I'm Googling to try to see
I know.
too.
I cannot figure it out. Is it Mimicus? Here, let me look.
Oh,
Mimicus.
you make me think of my old night kites though, because they were like glacial when it came to just molting, aging, like anything. They
Mm.
lived for almost 3 years, but like, yeah.
I had 2 of those one time, and they are those ones are stinking cute too. They're
Mhm.
goofy. They're just like nerdy little.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is a Phidippus mimicus.
Oh,
And maybe she wasn't ever actually from Mexico, which is maybe that's why we didn't become close friends, because she didn't understand what I was saying. Like, well, I'd love to hang out with this lady, but she only speaks Spanish, so.
oh, let's see. I'm looking. Where was she from? I want to know if you were speaking the wrong language. Um,
But see how
um,
she kind of it reminds me of Mickey Mouse shorts. I don't know, the like just the little red butt.
they are indeed from Mexico. So,
Yay! Okay, so she was just being snotty.
yeah, she thought your accent was lit.
Yeah, she was like that is not how you say buenos dias.
Oh, dude, I've been learning Dutch like really hard, and even though I can
Ooh.
read it, yeah, I don't know, but I can read it. But when I talk to my little friends out there, they're like, "You sound stupid." But
Yeah.
so yeah, at least she didn't say
Uh,
that to you, though. I guess. So okay, wait. If you get a spider from California, would you use like a Valley Girl accent with them to make them feel more comfortable?
I would probably give her that accent if she was talking in videos, I think.
Dude, your videos are
Oh
amazing,
yeah.
and I I think you might have like single-handedly you changed people's lives, dude. But
I It has been pretty cool when I meet people in the wild, or
mhm,
reading the comments, to hear that impact that the videos have had. It's so cool.
yeah.
Um People who went from being that, person who can't be in the same room with a spider, to doing what I do, and having spiders as pets and letting them crawl on them. And yeah, it's hard. Sometimes it's kind of hard to, you know believe that, because I just sit in my car on my lunch break and record videos. and, and I don't meet these people very often. So yeah, it's been pretty cool
Mhm,
to be able to help people in that
mhm,
way. And I think, I kind of that method kind of worked for me.
mhm.
Like personifying them, and anthropomorphizing, is that the right term?
Yeah.
um Basically getting, again, so often we're afraid of things that we don't understand, or things that
Mhm,
seem really foreign, that and if we can find just a little bit of a way to empathize
mhm.
with unknown thing, I think it's so much easier to be less afraid of the scary thing. And I remember my mom doing that with spiders when I was a little kid. And if I was freaking out because there was a spider there, she would say, or she would, make a voice for the spider, and be
Oh.
like, "Oh, the spider's going," and it instantly made it less scary, because it's like, "Oh, that's right. Like, I'm huge and that spider is freaking out because I'm so big." And so, yeah, giving these spiders little voices and personalities, I think, kind of just helps you think about them a little differently.
Oh my
And
gosh.
how can you be afraid of that,
Yeah, oh my gosh, so you're basically just helping a new generation with the same That's amazing.
Just tricking their brains into forgetting that they're afraid of them.
I think part of it is, the placement of their eyes, like, with the 2 main ones, it really helps us to find them super cute.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that the other spiders are just, oh, they're so full of eyes, spiders usually. And with jumping spiders, yeah, they have 2 big ones, and so right off the bat, your kind of human lizard
Yeah,
brain
yep.
is not quite. It's like, oh, that's something that I recognize. That's something that has two eyes, like me, even though it doesn't. You see those 2 eyes first, and
Yeah.
their fangs are somewhat covered up by fluffy little palps, so you don't see, like, ooh, that's a thing that wants to bite me. And they they can kind of cock their head in a way by, turning their whole body, but I think that ability, dogs do that. And so I
Mm.
think, yeah, your instinctive brain, I don't think responds quite the same way to jumping spiders because of all those
Yeah.
little elements.
It actually makes me wonder if that's why, besides tarantulas, of course, people go to wolf spiders afterwards, and like their eye pattern is way different too, but they still have like the two main eyes that you can kind of attach to. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wolf spiders were the thing that scared me the most out of all the spiders. Those were the ones that I was the most afraid of. That's what I had in my basement. That was what I mean. Wolf spiders were like the I can do jumpers, but I can't do wolf spiders. And but then I saw pictures, those up close pictures of their
Mhm.
faces, and
Yeah.
they just have just the dopiest, cutest faces.
Yeah, they look so dorky.
Yeah. And so now I'm not afraid of them. And I, finally like looked at one in real life up close. I'm like, well, gosh darn it, you really do have a cute face.
Yeah, they look like they have like or should have little glasses, and they're probably like going to be really
Yeah.
awkward and yeah.
They probably read a lot of books. I don't know. Like they're kind of like nerd, like dorky and smart. And
Yeah, no, wolf spiders are the reason that you have to bring dessert for the whole class, basically, I think. Or, birthday cupcakes. Because otherwise they wouldn't get one.
oh,
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have one. But
sorry, wolf spiders.
yeah, you get a cupcake. They did not have that rule growing up for me. Like, you didn't have to bring everybody a cupcake, but you do now. And you have to look for allergies. Oh man, times are changing.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to have to keep track of.
uh, and I don't know. I think the other thing, I don't know if you feel this way too, but like jumping spiders are just so freaking predictable. Like once you really learn about movements and how they telegraph everything, like
hmm
yeah, it's everybody,
Yeah.
aren't you afraid you're gonna lose them? No.
Yeah. And being able to kind of show people sometimes like they have this thread, this tether that,
Hmm.
first of all, you know when they're going to jump for the most
Hmm.
part. They reach out, they brace themselves for it. So you know
Hmm.
that they're going to jump. You know that they're, unless it's a fartalus, they're going to land on something. You can tell what they're aiming for, and yeah, you can grab them by the little tether and all of that, but that takes some handling and some time to
Hmm.
kind of figure out like, oh, I know what you're gonna do. Or like I made videos recently about I have a squiggly hair tie that I wear on my wrist when it's
Yeah.
not in my hair. And almost, I would say probably 85 to 90% of the spiders that I've had have had the same exact reaction to specifically that type of, and it's so funny. I mean, again, it's predictable. Okay, like if this is the first couple times I'm handling this spider, it's once it spots it, they stop in their tracks and they're like,
Oh.
"What is that?" And they kind of crouch and then they kind of creep towards it,
Oh.
um and investigate it. And some of them it takes a long time. Some of them, are pretty quick to get up on it, but it's very very apprehensive at first and just real, what is that thing? And then once they realize it's not going to hurt them, they'll climb up on it and then they launch themselves off of it. They all do it.
Oh, yeah. I saw your Otiosis video with the
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, they have to do that too. They have to kind of touch it, and
yep.
they like doing that with a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
They like to boop stuff.
Dude, we should do that more often. Well, okay, in the right circumstances and
Boop
places.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about it. If you go into Home Goods or something, aren't we just booping everything anyway? I have to touch all the fabrics. I have to pick up all the candles and smell them, and we're booping them. We're all secretly spiders.
Yeah, me even like every time I leave the house, I immediately shit. Just kidding. No. Uh, have you
Right.
noticed that? They always do that. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they have to get that out. Sometimes it's like, man, I wonder if they, if their butts are getting really big. It's like maybe I should get you out because
Yep,
you
yep.
need to let that go.
And then they get the zoomies because they're cats.
Mm,
So,
no, yeah, whole new spider. And now they've
mm.
freed up all of that weight.
So yeah, you can boop at Home Goods, but don't poop. Okay.
Don't poop. I won't do that part.
uh, yeah, I don't know. Looking back, especially beginning, oh my god, everything that was so new and cute, like watching them make hammocks and being like, oh my god, they're shaking their butt. Feels like, from your videos, like you get to see other people experiencing them and being excited about the little stuff that we're super used to.
Yeah. And, a lot of the questions, people are so curious about them. And why are they doing that? Why are they, they're so easy to voice over because they're
Mhm.
so animated and, they have their palps moving and they reach their arms up all the time. But people are like, well, why are they doing that? Why are they reaching their arm out? They usually do that when they're getting ready to jump at
Yeah.
something but yeah, the why behind it. So many people want to understand, which is great because then they have that curiosity,
Hmm.
that learning about them and wanting to understand them better.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think it's awesome too when people learn about, like, oh, they might just be reaching for a drag line that could be in the air or, measuring. Because
mm,
often, like, when they raise their arms like that, people assume that that's threatening or.
or like when they do that thing, it looks like they're beatboxing. Like, you know what I mean? Where all their legs are kind of like in front of their faces. Like, that's often when they're trying to find a drag line, right? Like
Mhm.
they're reaching out and they can't find it, and but it
Yeah.
probably looks kind of creepy to somebody who doesn't know what they're doing.
Oh, and also watching them struggle to get through our disgusting arm hair. Oh my God. Like, they're such body shamers when it comes to hairiness. Like, I'm so sorry.
I there's a reason why that mine are usually climbing on the inside of my arms.
Oh,
They definitely, yeah, they make me feel a little self-conscious about it when they're like, I can't
oh.
get through that. I need a machete. I'm like, okay, fine, sorry.
That's one thing too. Oh my gosh, making videos, you start to realize, like, wow, I have really dry skin, but I can't wear lotion
Hmm.
because the spiders.
Exactly that. Yes. Yeah. Recently, I've really started noticing it. I don't know if it's because I have a new camera or what, but I'm like, oh man, like I'm waiting for people to comment on my dry hands. But yeah, you can't put lotion on, or I don't know,
Mm-mm.
maybe you can. I'm not going to put
Yeah.
lotion on right before handling a spider for like a
No.
hundred different reasons. And so I wash them and then let them be dry.
Yeah,
What do you
I
do?
know. Yeah, I used to really like perfume and stuff, but nope, nope.
Yeah, you can feel them judging you sometimes too. Or if your if your hands are clammy, they're like, "Well, that is gross. That
Oh,
is
that is
gross, lady."
gross. Yeah,
Mm.
dude. No. As long as they don't, like, try to drink from your hand, then you're all good, I think.
Cool. Nope.
Oh,
We're not quite there, fortunately.
oh man. Here's a question that I know you've been asked a million times, but I'm sure people want to know. Have you been bitten?
I've never been bit. I'm still waiting
Mm.
for the day that I can't say that anymore. Because I've certainly asked for it plenty of times,
How?
when you get to handling, well, sometimes I'm handling a spider that doesn't really feel like it that day. And,
Mhm.
sometimes I'll, be filming them and kind of like scooch them over a little bit to be that type of thing. And
Mhm.
you can tell like they're like, no, I want to sit here, I don't want to, like, or I when I'm cleaning out their enclosure, things like that, I've done things that have probably annoyed them before. I've given them reason. um
uh,
and yeah, I have never had one even try. um
yeah.
I think you really have to scare or tick off a
Mhm.
spider, a jumping spider,
Yeah.
to get them to bite you. Or it's kind of like a, if they're sick, maybe, or, that type of thing,
Yeah.
towards the end of their life. I know sometimes that can happen. But Yeah, I've never been bit. Never they've bit my paintbrush a couple of times when I
Hmm.
needed to scooch them back. And it's like it's time to go home. Like you need to go back in your enclosure or that type of thing. They'll
Nope.
um posture and fight, and even that when they do, it's just cute, it's just they
Yeah.
look so they unscary when they're trying to look scary. But yeah, I think a lot of people worry about that. That's probably the number one question that I get
Yep.
asked. And
Absolutely.
they it's important to know that they can absolutely
Mm.
bite. They just it's not the first just like people, like I if I wanted to bite somebody I could, but like I'm not likely going to do that. It would take a lot to get me to bite somebody. And it's just
uh,
not my first, my your first instinct is likely going to be to run away or to, that type of thing. And same with them.
yeah.
They're going to try a lot of things before they have to resort to biting.
Yeah, I think that's how I usually describe it too. Like, unless it's an accident or, you're not respecting their boundaries. A lot of it, I think, also comes from like not having spider consent, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's totally true. Or if someone's trying to like hold one in their hands and
Hmm.
make them, if they felt trapped or
Yeah.
they might do that then.
Do you also breed them as well?
I don't. No, I
Okay.
have not. I don't think I'm built for that. I'll
Yeah.
leave that to other people.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, even stealing sex away from, mommies before they hatch and get all over the
Mm,
house, like even then they don't seem like they're gonna bite you. So I don't know.
yeah, and they're
But
super protective.
oh yeah.
So if they're not biting even then, yeah.
Sorry, I got distracted because there's some cricket catching going on. Oh, I wish I could show you. I have a Bisley and she's gonna get it.
Do you tell them good job like every time they catch something like good job?
Yeah, dude, I think me and you are kind of similar in singing and like just yeah, spider self-esteem.
Yes,
Yeah.
all of the silly little songs that you
Mhm.
I think I told you like the other day, like I have enclosures where anytime I close it, I need to make sure I have my eye on the spider so that they don't get squished. And then I
God.
realized that eye on the spider sounds a lot like eye of the tiger. So I was singing that too.
I wish we could do spider karaoke. Oh, we should do
Mm.
that. Whoever does the
You
best
could totally do that.
spoodioke. Oh,
Spoodioke.
I don't know.
Fortunately, I don't think they can really hear us very well
Mm,
anyway. So
mhm.
I'd be super embarrassed if I realized that they could hear my singing.
Oh man. Do you think if they could talk, it would sound, like your videos do?
Well, I hope so. I think
Oh.
they would have cute little voices, don't you think?
Yeah. I don't oh man, and some of the older boys though. Oh man.
That'd be more like they'd have more boy voice than girl voice, I think. They'd have like I don't know. I'm trying to think of something similar, like a cartoon that they would sound like. It's not a voice I can create. Otherwise, that's what they would sound like in my
Uh,
videos. But
what's another one?
let's see. I get a lot of people who ask, "Help, I caught a jumping spider.
Yep.
What should I do?" And
Yep.
that's kind of a controversial thing.
Yeah.
Uh Anybody you ask I think is going to have a different answer to that.
Mm.
So it's tricky. I think my answer probably varies sometimes too.
Yeah.
Because I've had two wild caught spiders
Mm.
before. So I'm not completely
Yeah.
innocent in
Mm.
that way. I think sometimes it depends on the spider
Yeah.
too.
Mhm.
There are some spiders that are very outspoken about not wanting to be
Mhm.
captive,
Yeah.
and other spiders that seem really cool with it.
Mhm.
I think most of the time it's probably better to let them live their lives outside.
Yeah.
But some spiders are really cool with just like, okay, you mean like I can just watch TV and eat Twinkies that you hand feed me all
Mhm.
day? Like that's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of a tough thing to answer. uh, as far as should you or shouldn't you have
Mhm.
a wild caught spider? I don't know. Do you have opinions on that?
Oh my gosh, I get those questions a lot too, and I've mentioned this before, but like without meaning to, my first jumping spiders were wild caught, and I had no idea. It was sold to me as captive, but I didn't know.
Oh.
So yeah, and the funny thing about that is that one of them, Orange Floof, she got out for 2 weeks, and the whole time she was just on the other side of the shelf, like so. So yeah, you're completely right. Like she, even though she was wild cut to begin with, like she basically entrapped herself again. If you think about it, and then
Yeah.
one day she was just upside down from the shelf looking at me.
Yeah. I had one that it was a tan jumper, a male, and
Hmm.
I caught him because they were my favorite kind of I just love their faces,
Yeah.
and I had never had one. So I caught him with the intention of filming some videos of him, getting, some good like videos and pictures of him, and
Hmm.
then letting him go. And when I tried that, he wouldn't leave. I filmed him, and he wouldn't come out of his enclosure, and so I finally kind of scooted him out, and then he just went on my hand, and he would not leave. He would not, I'd hold my hand out to a tree or to a house,
Hmm.
um he just wanted to hang out on me. So
Yeah.
I would put him back and be like, okay, we'll try again in a couple days, and I'd try it again. I'd take him back outside, be like, look at the wild, you can go be out here. And he just didn't want to. So I tried it anytime I hung out with him. And during warm months, I would hang out with him outside. So I figured one day, like, he'll jump off and he'll go be free. And that just never happened. So I think, yeah, some spiders are just cool with it.
Yeah, I had the same thing with a tan jumping spider. So tan jumpers, they do have a reputation for being really hard to bring in from the wild. I guess that they will just either like stop eating or not make a hammock, or they'll just be miserable. And
Mm.
but I had the same thing with a girl. I found her in the corner of the kitchen, and I took her outside, and I
Aw.
was like, "Go be free." And no, nope.
She's like, no, no,
Yeah.
don't want to do that.
Yep, and she lived for freaking ever, dude, and
Aw,
so tiny, but she did pass away, but yeah.
they do that. They love to do that. That's unfortunately.
Yeah.
Aw, that's cool. They must just be, I don't know, maybe they just like the warmth of our hands more
Mhm.
than other spiders or something. Because yeah, man, his name was Yup, like
Mm,
YUP, Yup.
mhm. Yep.
And yeah, Yup, and that's how that was his voice too. Yup, Yup.
Yep.
Uh, and yeah, they just seem pretty social. I don't know, pretty cool.
I wonder if that's because we are where they're from. Because I mean, she was gonna live in my
Mm,
kitchen anyway, but, like, now
mm-hmm.
she gets food delivery every day, water, so yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. Well, one thing, the wild caught question kinda makes me think of breeding, and I don't know if you get asked about that ever.
Yeah, I that's a common question, I think, is like, do you sell your spiders? Yeah, I have watched just watching other people who breed spiders is kind of all the like spider birth control that I need to know that it's not for me. I I usually have like 10 to 12 spiders at a time, and that's really time consuming
Yeah.
in itself to take care of them. Every day I need to be doing something with them, and the the amount of work that goes into breeding spiders and taking care of spiderlings, I don't think
Mhm.
people really can fully understand it unless they get into it or watch somebody go through it. I had a friend who kind of unexpectedly ended up with a gravid spider.
Yep.
It was her very first
No.
pet spider. She was doing something really similar to me, where she was wanting to kind of overcome her discomfort with spiders by taking care of one, and she received one that was
Mm.
gravid. And
Yep.
so she went on to have, I mean, hundreds and hundreds of babies. And I don't even know how many clutches, maybe seven-ish clutches of little babies. Um, and so I was able to help her a little bit. I would, if she went out of town, I would go take care of them. And we
Mm-hmm.
went to a few expos to help find new homes for them. And oh my goodness, the amount of deli cups. I mean, she just had carts, rolling carts full of deli cups. And, dealing with fruit flies and all of that
Yes.
for one spider in
Mm.
a decent sized enclosure is a pain. Like trying to corral the fruit flies and get them to, because I don't have the fancy thing that you do. I buy them at the store, but um getting the right amount, and then they're dead in there and you have to pull the dead fruit flies out, and
Ugh.
for just the few that I have is one
Hmm.
thing, but having to do that like 100 times in a row in these little tiny deli cups while also trying to keep a little jumpy spider
Mm-hmm.
from getting, not getting out or not getting squished
Yeah.
every day.
Yep.
I the hours you would need. I think people just really don't
Mm-hmm.
realize that how
Yeah.
time consuming it is. And how emotionally draining I think it can be too, because they there are large clutches for a reason, because
Mm-hmm.
they're not all meant to survive. And
Yeah.
I think it feels like failure to a
Yeah.
lot of people if they have
Definitely.
some I mean, I think sometimes there can be kind of a weaker clutch too, where they just
Yeah.
don't hardly any of them
Mm-hmm.
manage to make it. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's and the amount of space that like your house is going to be a spider house.
Yep.
You're the yeah, all of that goes into it. Just I fortunately know very strongly that I will not do that. That is not something that is for me.
Yeah.
I don't think I would be built for it. I wouldn't do it responsibly. And so I know that I can't do it. I really kudos to those of you who can. It is a lot of work and takes a takes a tough person to be able to do it.
Yeah, and just oh my gosh, it feels like everybody is as well. So it's like not only do you do it, but then you do end up with a ton of spiders that need homes, and it's
Yeah.
sometimes not as easy to find them homes as you would think. So, but
Yeah, yeah. We were going to expos with pretty little clutches by the time, we would go with, I don't know, maybe we'd go with like 20 at a
mhm,
time or so, and usually we wouldn't sell through all of them.
mhm.
Yeah, I would imagine when you have even more of those, because that's another thing to remember. Like
Mhm.
a spider, it can have a clutch of babies and it's going to be a good, like, what, 75 to 100 babies sometimes.
Ah, yeah.
Um, but then they can do that again and again and again.
Mhm.
As many times as they stay alive. Basically, they don't
Yeah.
they don't need to be paired in between. They
Yeah.
only need that once, and then they can just do that forever, and you can't humanely stop that. So
Mhm.
that's another thing to remember. You're signing up for such a big commitment.
Yeah.
Nonstop babies.
I'm about to be there myself, but oh man.
Yeah.
But I've noticed that some of them, they do like the failure to thrive thing, and sometimes that's like a very long, drawn out process, like of not wanting to
Mm,
thrive.
re-
And
refusing to eat.
yeah, and
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, people have had spiders that, man, they gave it everything that they could possibly give it, and it just
Hmm.
didn't make it. That's how they can be sometimes.
Yeah, that's how it be. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh man, all the questions that are popping in my head are so dumb. They
I know
really.
dumb questions are kind of fun.
Yeah, no, I was about to ask you about like if you had a clutch, would you eat it? Dude, speaking of clutches though, the other day I looked over and I was so excited because I thought one of my girls that is kind of a bit of a failure to thrive was eating a cricket. Nope, she was eating it.
Mm.
It looked like a quesadilla of eggs, and she
Oh
was
no.
yeah, she munching, dude.
You know what's funny, and maybe this is something that I experience more than you do, since don't I don't ever pair mine.
Mhm.
Um, I can tell which spiders are like the good moms and the
Yeah.
ones that are like garbage moms. And, um, because I have some, I even have one right now. She's never even been on camera.
Mhm.
But her name is Forever Mom
Mhm.
because she always has a clutch of infertile eggs,
Ah.
and just guards them all the
Mm.
time. She
Mhm.
takes like a break every month or so to kind of like wander around a little bit. She eats, but most of the time she's just guarding those eggs. I had Cake, my favorite spider, a long time ago. She was the same way, just all
Yeah.
wanted to be a mom so bad. Always had eggs, always guarded them and stayed on them, and just you could tell that was like what they wanted to do. And then you have
Mhm.
other ones that just they'll just like lay them and they'll just let them like dump down the side of their enclosure, so there's just this like yellow goo without it
Yeah.
just hanging out everywhere. Or you'll have the ones that just immediately eat them. It's like, okay, well, do whatever they're your eggs. Do whatever you want with them. But
Oh my god. Oh my god.
two different types for sure.
I told you the placenta story, right? Yeah, I did, I think.
I'm trying to remember now.
But yeah, my mom told me that some cultures eat their
Placentas.
yeah, so I went to school and whatever, and then I got back in the car and he's like, "How's your day?" It's like, "Good. I told the teacher how you ate your placenta." My mom was like, I didn't eat my placenta, but you
That's
know,
even worse.
she didn't. She no.
I figured at least she must have eaten hers, but she
No.
didn't.
Uh,
Oh
can you
gosh.
imagine like at the parent teacher conference? I had a
Right.
young mom, by the way, a young punk mom. She was probably like,
Oh.
"Hi, Mrs. Leo. So, about that."
First to clear to clear up the obvious.
Oh my god, yeah, dude. And I know what you mean. I have a spider named Billy, and she, oh my God, she was so fun. So fun. I have tons of videos of her. And then the second she matured, she is also forever mom.
Mhm.
She will guard them forever. But
Aw.
actually, somebody was asking me about this because they have the same thing, and they were agonizing over for an infertile sac guarding mom. Like, do I poke them out of there? Do I leave them be? Ugh.
Mhm.
What would you say? I don't know.
Yeah, that's another thing that I think a lot of people have different answers for.
Mm-hmm.
I let them with an infertile egg sac.
Mm-hmm.
I let them just keep it as long as they want. Eventually, I think they figure it out. They're like,
Yeah.
these aren't doing anything.
Yeah.
um, and so they do eventually. Like sometimes mine will move somewhere else and lay another egg sac somewhere else. So I'll pull it out if it's gross. I guess I just
Yeah.
let them stay there as until they change their mind. I don't know, and it hasn't seemed to harm them to
Yeah.
do that. Because I know some people feel like it stresses them out if they pull it
Mm-hmm.
early, and of course you have to do that sometimes, for the safety of everybody. But
Yeah.
when it's infertile, I don't think it's
Yeah.
hurting anybody.
I think I read once, I forgot where, but just they know how to spider better than you do.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
dude, I know
they
it
do
can
this in the
be,
wild, right?
yeah, I know it can be like really terrible to see like a mommy, like, even a fake mommy come out and be like a little triangle butt, but
Mm-hmm.
you're right. So, I don't know. It's
Yeah, I
hard.
think if it got to the point where one like stopped eating, maybe I don't know, maybe I would intervene. But
Mhm.
I really haven't run into that
Yeah.
where um I get super concerned about them.
Mhm.
They're way hardier than I
Yeah.
think a lot of people um assume.
Mhm.
As far like think about some of the longest molts that they've been through. Boy,
Oh.
I've had the molt for I don't know, a good month maybe.
Mhm.
Stay in that molting stack. they're not eating that whole time, you know.
Yeah.
They're so yeah, I think I don't get worried
Mhm.
very early on about that.
Also, though, one thing is just, where they might be living outside, like windy, rainy, sometimes cold,
Mhm.
like, and they are fine, I guess. I've never asked,
Yeah,
but
they've survived as a species, so
one thing that kind of is charming to me is like when you Google a specific type and it's like, it's got the date like 1803 is when it was named. Like these are some old dudes. So as far as, mommies that you're worried about, I always just try flies myself. I don't know if you've ever done that.
that seems to be kind of the crowd favorite, right?
Yeah.
Flies.
Mm-hmm. Because you can leave them in there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great that they're not gonna harm the spider. Well, the blue bottle
Hmm.
flies
Yeah.
anyway. They can't bite or anything. I'm kind of a set it and forget it type of, if I can find like an easy system that
Hmm.
works, that's what I do. And so that's kind of the system I use actually. I get my blue bottle spikes from Big Fat Fids. I usually, wait until they pupate and I'll like every few days, every couple of days, I'll put one or two, pupae in like
Hmm.
a little dish in each
Yeah.
house, in each little spider house. And that keeps a pretty good rotation of flies hatching in there. So they're going to have a fly every few days. And I used to give them the spikes themselves. And every
Hmm.
once in a while I'll still do that. But it seems like they overeat, they get fat, they get sluggish.
Hmm.
And I realized since I started just kind of doing flies for the most part, my
Yeah.
spiders are living longer. They're not looking, bloated and yeah. So yeah, that's kind of the method. And that way, like it's pretty easy, I don't have to catch flies. I don't have to, because they're hatching in there. They're doing their own thing. And
Yeah.
it that system's worked really well for me,
Mhm. Yeah,
but I know that there's so many different things you can feed them. So
yeah, and that's my hope with the mommies that are guarding, like, hopefully a fly will bonk into them enough that they'll be like, "Ugh," and they'll just go eat it,
they'll get
and
excited about it.
yeah, and, like, you don't have to constantly because especially if you have a mom that's been guarding for a while, if you open their enclosure, they're likely to, like, suck back into their hammock and never mind. Also, I noticed you mentioned our friend Big Fat Fids. I love
Yeah.
them and their spikes, and I don't know if I told you this, but my Blue Bottle Spike song, they really liked it, so they're gonna use it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I think
my
you did tell me that they were going to use it like as a commercial or
yeah,
jingle.
my Chapel is it Chapel? Chapel?
Chapel Roan.
My Chappelle Roan Blue Bottle Spikes. I did that in one take, but it's not good by any means, but I did. So yeah,
That's awesome.
you're speaking to a celebrity and you just don't know it yet.
Yeah, I like them. I've used their enclosures since my very first spider
Yeah.
Gretel. So I really like the portholes.
Yes,
It makes
yes.
misting so easy. You just
That's
go through and just mist them through the portholes and
yep.
don't even have to open up the house when you're doing that. It's yeah,
Yeah,
real
that's what
simple.
I was gonna say too. Like, and
Yep.
especially when you have slings, like you can put fruit flies in
Oh,
there and they're not gonna ah beautiful.
yeah, they're not gonna get out through the yep.
Yeah, but also they're just good people. And this is not a commercial, by the way, you guys, but I really love the containers that their spikes come in are amazing, I think, with the pup.
Yeah, those are good too, and they fit in the fridge really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that the owner of Big Fat Fids, he gave me some insight. I don't know how many other people deal with this, but I used to gross, but I used to keep the spikes just in my regular refrigerator. But we moved and I got a better setup for my spider space, so I
Oh,
got a mini fridge where I could just keep them in my mini fridge. And I noticed that all of a sudden they weren't hatching anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So my system was totally messed up because
Uh-oh.
they were
Yeah.
just they were just staying spikes. They weren't hatching. I had some that had in my regular refrigerator and some in my mini fridge,
Mm-hmm.
and the regular refrigerator ones were doing fine. So I
Hmm.
reached out to him and asked, like, hey, I don't know why. I mean, it's obviously not anything that he did, but like, can you give
Yeah.
me some insight on like why my mini fridge spikes are not, they're not thriving. They're not,
Yeah.
finishing their cycle. And he said that since it's such a small space, it has like less ventilation or something
Mm.
about it. The humidity is high and they're basically drowning in there. And so he was like, put some rice in the mini fridge, just like in
Ah.
an open container.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did that. I just got like a little cup of
Yeah.
rice and put it in there, instantly fixed it.
Are you
They're
kidding?
fine. And whenever I feed them now, like when I open the fridge,
Mm-hmm.
while I'm doing all the feeding, I leave the fridge door open too,
Yeah.
just to kind of like let it air out a little bit and stuff. But yeah, it fixed the problem completely. So if anybody has a mini fridge that they keep their spikes in and they're having that
Wow.
issue,
Mm-hmm.
rice. Who would have thought?
That's so
And that's
cool.
that's the kind of guy he is too. That he was like, oh yeah, I know
But
the answer to that problem.
yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask, when you say mini fridge, I bought like a little tiny like Barbie fridge, like, well, it's not Barbie, but for
Mm,
Cokes or whatever. And is yours like
yeah.
that, or is yours like an actual?
It's very mini. It's for like if somebody gets it for like medication, I
Mm-hmm.
think. I'd say it's oh gosh, how big is it? I could probably fit two soda cans
Yeah,
in it.
that's
So it's
like
very
mine.
little. It's
Yeah.
it's perfect for what I need
Mm-hmm.
it for. But yeah, it probably doesn't happen with one of those like, those like mid-size mini fridges. It probably isn't an issue.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have the tiny one too, and it has a Bluetooth speaker
Okay.
on the door just in case you want to play
Oh, no
music.
way.
Yeah, for your spikes.
That's
Yeah.
super cool. Yeah. Enrichment for your
Yeah.
feeders.
Actually, though, that makes so much sense because if they are too humid, you could see how they wouldn't be able to like get hard. And
Well,
I don't.
I
Sorry.
suppose maybe that's it. I, I try not to think too much about what spikes are, but in my like quandary, I was like, these things, their whole life cycle exists like inside like dead stuff,
Yeah.
dead rotting stuff
Oh.
that's usually wet. So I was
Oh.
like, why? How is this? But apparently they are delicate creatures that can't have too much humidity. I don't know.
Oh my
It's
god,
it had to be true because it sure fixed the problem. So yeah, I don't
dude!
know. I guess they.
You bring up a good point because you know how like crime scene people they will know based on like how old the spike is, and by the way,
Yeah.
these are maggots we're talking about, everyone. But yeah, I think. Do you think would be good at this? Should we offer our services or?
We have like the weirdest knowledge about them that other people might not have.
Yeah. So like, okay, Emily and Lena on the case, and based on the age of your spikes, they look like pupes to me. Just kidding. So, oh god, we're not going down that road. But
Right.
yeah, they probably have to learn about that in college, and we learned about it for free.
Yep. We just figured it out.
Smart. But no, I'm fully team fly. It's so easy. They don't get way too fat, which I think is really important with the males, but
Mm.
it gives them something to do. So,
Yeah, they can chase it.
mhm.
A lot of my males don't like other feeders anyway.
Yeah.
They'll only go after flies for some reason.
Have you ever had a male try to mate with a mealworm or mate with a spike?
Ew. No, I don't think if he did that in private. I didn't see that happen.
Oh no, if the enclosures are rocking, don't come a knocking. No.
Get a few more of those mealworms.
Yeah, I don't know. I've had a couple, and I gave him a
Really?
crawler, and he was like,
Did they
"I'm
like
going with
dance
dance."
for?
Yep, dance.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, yeah.
That's cute. I mean, I've had them dance at random things that I wouldn't expect them to dance at. But I kind of wondered if it was more of a, like they were afraid of, but maybe they were, maybe they were into that. I don't know.
Yeah, don't yuck their yum. Oh my god.
I have videos of Sid dancing that I took a long time ago, his I Am Adequate dance, and he was triggered by a little toy saxophone. That was what set that whole thing off. I had like a, little, my spiders had a band for a brief time. They were in a band, and and so I had a little saxophone laying out, and boy, did that just got him going. So I don't know.
Do you think it was it shiny? Did he see himself?
Yeah, it was like this gold shiny. It was either that or he was really upset with it. I can't tell the difference. I mean, it was a very charming dance. So I think he liked it.
Oh, it really tooted his horn.
Yeah.
That was actually, now that you mention it, there have been some. I used to have a male Weavis, and he lived in a house that I made with a Pokemon toy, because they sell like
Aw.
yeah, they sell like playsets, Pokemon playsets, and he was
Mhm.
majorly attracted to like this apple. But yeah, it got to the point where it
That's
was like,
so funny.
yeah, dude, it got to the point where it was like, I think I might have to take this out, like, so you will eat.
Oh, you'd break his heart.
I know, but I don't know. Where were we before this? I don't know.
Oh, I was going to say that,
Oh
well, we
yeah.
were talking about catching flies.
Hmm.
I have a few spiders that are a little extra active, and you can tell they like anytime a fly comes out, they're immediately catching it. But I
Yeah.
don't want them to get too fat. So even as adults, sometimes I'll throw some fruit flies in there
Hmm.
for the adult,
Oh
just so
wow.
that they have something to do, and they love it. And it's, this big spider walking around this with this teeny little like bite-sized fruit fly, but they'll catch them, and some don't care and they totally ignore it, but then
Oh
others, like, they're like, heck yeah, like snacks. So
wow. I
that
never
has,
thought of that, dude.
yeah,
Huh.
keeps them busy, and it's like diet diet
Oh.
snacks, like those 100-calorie packs for
Oh.
spiders. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I want to try that now with the big old high dies, or actually,
Yeah.
you could use gold fruit flies too, right? Do you ever get those?
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, they're
I have the first one, the first one. I don't know how to pronounce it. You did it right, I think. I think the hide eyes are, cute and bumbly and fat, so that's usually what I go with. But
oh,
I haven't seen the golden ones.
yeah, they're bigger, dude. And the last thing I'm gonna
Oh,
say,
okay.
just slightly bigger, but one thing that's freaking weird about fruit flies is how much blood are in them.
Yeah.
Have you
Have you
noticed?
noticed that the ones that when spiders are eating fruit flies, a lot of the time their poop is like that orange
Dude,
color instead of.
thank oh, thank you for no, somebody asked me that literally yesterday, and they sent me a picture of their
Oh,
spider on
nice.
its bowl because it pooped on it, and it's got like a orange
Mhm.
bloop. And they asked, "Is my
Yeah.
spider okay?" Yeah, seriously, I think it's just fruit flies are little blood sacs.
Mm.
Dude, yeah, it's kind of like Russian dressing or something.
Ew. And yeah, the full sized flies don't really seem to have much goo in them at all. They just kind of like disintegrate. It's just a bunch of like legs and wings at the end.
I think that's like the drawback in using big blue bottle flies, because they really do like crumble, and it's just like a bunch of little black pieces of dudes. And
Yeah, just leg
yeah,
pieces stuck to things.
yeah, and especially when they eat it
Ugh.
in their hammock, like you're like, oh, I don't want to mess up your hammock just to get this out.
Mhm. Oh,
uh
that's the worst. Yeah, it's deciding, like, do I mess up their hammock or do I just let it be gross? Depends on my mood.
Yeah, you mentioned like, good mummies and bad mummies, but I think it's also
Mm,
funny to see who is like meticulous, like sack cleaner, or
yes.
not sack cleaner.
Oh
Wait,
my gosh.
meticulous hammock cleaner, I should say, or like molt thrower, and who.
Yes. And they're all so different. I have one that Weird Barbie, and she just, oh my gosh, constantly making new webs. So her whole plate, you can hardly see into it because of all of the webs up at the
Mhm.
top, and um, everything's just, she's just a pigsty. It's just a mess. And then like Sid is so tidy. There are hardly any webs anywhere. Like he'll have like one little one that he
Oh.
makes, and it never gets food in it. Also, I noticed recently, and I don't know how I never noticed it before with his flies. He, usually you find like the wings and legs, and that's about it.
Yeah.
He leaves the heads. So there's just one day I realized that like his whole he has it's a bioactive enclosure, so it's dirt and plants and stuff. I'm like, what are there's all these little fly heads, just that like their eyes basically like left over, and none of my other spiders do that. So yeah, they're all just so different. Like he's like, ew, I don't want that part, and
He doesn't eat
and
the crust.
and so tidy. Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
But yeah, they all are so different with how they like to keep their space.
Yeah, I've noticed boys tend to fluff their hammocks more and like spend more time fluffing.
Oh, that's cute. I don't think I've noticed that.
No, have you ever seen like when they will use their shells to try to pull on their hammocks a little bit too? It's funny. Maybe that's just a mommy thing, but
Yeah, maybe that is. I see mine, like I've had them where they closed, like slammed their door on me,
yes.
for their web,
Mhm.
But yeah.
Hi, doggo. Are you awake?
Yeah, oh, there, yep, he
I heard.
is. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Oh, that was so
So
cute.
vocal. Yeah.
Like
It's cute for a while.
you know how weird that sounds?
It's like, are you keeping a hostage in your basement or what?
Yeah.
His name is Bert. Like Bert and Ernie.
Oh, dude, I feel like we could talk forever, but I guess we should leave it at this for now.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
Bert, that's okay.
Bert, I think you're
Yeah,
okay,
Bert.
yeah. I guess people know he's there, right? So it's not weird if he makes some
No,
noises.
yeah, Bert needs
Okay.
to.
Okay, that's fine then.
It's Bert time, but
Yeah, it's
I don't.
Bert time.
I guess if people want to find you on the internet, or how can they do that?
Yeah, I am currently on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. So TikTok in that order, kind of. TikTok is where all of my stuff is.
Mm.
Instagram is where I'm trying to get all of my stuff onto at this point.
Okay.
And YouTube, I am still working on. So there's some of my videos, I'm there. It's a slow process, and my handle is mini_robo muppets on all of those platforms. So if you see me on Facebook, that's not me, and you can still watch my stuff on there if you want. Just know that I'm not going to respond because it's not me.
God, it's so annoying. But yeah, don't forget the underscore, and you've got a check mark on
Yep.
Instagram.
I do.
Yeah, there can be only
That's
one.
me.
But yeah, please come back soon because that was
Yeah,
fun.
I would love that. Yeah, and thank you for having me. This is awesome. Like, what better place to totally nerd
Right?
out about spiders. There's not that many, so this is
a
really fun.
kind of lonely hobby sometimes. So yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And we'll see you guys, sometime.
That was perfect.
Thank you.